All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How y'all feeling? Good to see you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can't, please let me know. Here's a good comment to start off the show. From Serenity, Tranquility, Peace. Increased sea level of 1 foot expected along U.S. coasts by 2050. 1 foot. And that is only if emissions are curbed now. So if we do all the right things, if we do all the things, if we somehow magically curb emissions, then we'll only get 1 foot. There you go. Anyways, thank you for that. On the screen is a good way to support the channel. It's my Cash App. There are other links, other ways to support in the description. All the platforms I'm on. We're currently live on Callin, Rockfin, and on YouTube. By the way, speaking of which, curbing emissions discussion. There's a good. I listened to a good podcast on Spotify. It was just about the green energy revolution, like the myth of said revolution. Here, I'll link it in the boxes there. Don't know. I can't link it on Callin, or maybe I can link it on. No, I cannot link it on Callin. But maybe I can find the. I'll give you the title of it, and you guys can search it if you are so moved. Anyways, it just talks about the issues with having a green energy transition to a. The title is. It's from a podcast called Upstream, and the title is The Green Transition, The Problem with Green Capitalism, Part 1. Okay, so that's the title. Check it out. But they do, there is a section in that show where they talk about degrowth, and they talk about the idea that, trying to grow the economy while you're trying to decrease carbon emissions it is a fool's errand. It is ridiculous, to say the least. At the very least, it's ridiculous. And so they discuss also, you have to actually be, there's no pretty way to put it. You actually have to be dismantling the economy as we know it, dismantling all the unnecessary infrastructure that is built into rampant consumerism. You have to be kind of getting rid of those things while you're decreasing emissions. That's the only way that you're really going to go in the right direction. Otherwise, you're just playing the Sisyphus game. Anyways. Let's look at. Oh, well, we'll talk more about ridiculous ideas. Today we're going to talk about bad ideas. I could have just called the video Bad Ideas. But I thought my title was at least a little more interesting than Bad Ideas. But, man, there are just a lot of bad ideas out there. I'm going to point out a few of them. Fantoma sent me this. See, there's not a lot of people here because people thought I was going to be late. There's actually some folks listening on Callin. That's cool. There's people on YouTube. There's people on Rockfin. Everybody's here. But I think people expect me to be a little bit later. So I'm going to try and reverse that trend, the being late trend, as best I can. All right. I was saying something. I was talking about something. I'm That's not what I wanted to see. Okay, here we go. So people have been talking about the MAGA communism thing. MAGA communism. I don't know. Whatever that means. I think MAGA communism is another word for populism. That would be correct. Things that are ideas that are popular. So, this is just a fancy way of like making it, seem like the left and right are uniting, worker driven. This is just another rebranding of the same idea. Things that appeal to independence, things that appeal to both sides of the aisle are things that just make sense. And it doesn't really matter what political spectrum you're on. These things are just right. Like social, you might find libertarians or people on the right ideologically opposed to things like Social Security and Medicare, but find me a middle class or working class Republican that wants to give up their Social Security and Medicare, and they, you won't find many of those. In fact, very few. Very few would be, yeah, it's fine. Take that away from me. All of them you'd have to take that away from their cold, dead fingers. That's how popular those socialist programs are. They're very socialist programs. So things that appeal to both sides of the aisle are things that are good for people. Just common sense things that are good for, people generally like unions. People generally like healthcare. People like, these are okay. People like taxing the wealthy. They like antitrust laws, right? They like, not having monopolies control your life. Stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, libertarians took COVID stimulus. Yes, they did. Poppy Davis says, I'm not having much luck figuring out what MAGA communism is. I mean, it's just that. It's just what I described. We'll read through. So Jackson Hinkle has a post about this MAGA communism, reindustrialization of America. Well, there's the very first point, which Fantomas brings up. If you are in any way educated on climate change, you understand that reindustrializing America is, it seems like a good idea is for, independence, and we're going to control our means of production, and then the U.S. will make U.S. made goods. All that sounds really great to, just regular working class people. But then if you understand climate change, reindustrializing America, reindustrializing anything is not what you want to do. So you got to even go one step further. But, again, we're not even close to having real conversations about real problems, because people are stuck somewhere else. They're stuck in, thinking that everything's going to go forward like it's been going forward for the last 50 years, and we're just going to continue doing that. And people just think somehow that's how it's going to go. And we live in a new world, and it's taking people a long time to catch up to that. Well, we'll read through a few of these. Dismantle big tech, end foreign intervention, end globalist imperialism, abolishing CIA, FBI, NSA. I mean, I support most of these things. Drain DOJ swamp. Pardon January 6th protesters. Some people might not agree with this. Pardon Assange. No, I agree with that, actually. Pardon January 6th protesters. Pardon Assange Snowden. I agree. Extend free speech to social media. Land reform, dismantle big agriculture, but of course, unite with China on BRI. I don't know what that is. Ban Antifa street terrorism, expand stable, high-yielding energy, oil and nuclear. Okay, there's a couple of bad ideas in here, right? Reindustrializing America and expanding oil and nuclear energy is, in the short term, that seems like a good idea. In long term, that's a no. That's a big old no. Leave NATO, mass infrastructure program, declare major energy sources as public commodities, banking in hands of people, economic bill of rights, cut military budget, protect sector. Most of these are pretty solid ideas. I'm on board with most of them. Bob. Cut foreign aid and democracy promotion, no open borders, dismantle MIC, promote made in America products, nationalize big tech. Nationalize big tech. That's interesting. It's a very socialist idea, right? I'm more on the communist side. Literacy movement, patriotic education, and woke academia. Here. And subsidization of monopolies. Well, how about breaking them up? Why do you have to subsidize monopolies? It shouldn't, no, you're in the wrong area there. Remove red tape. Monopolies are things that are not supposed to exist. Remove red tape. Subsidize gyms in every community. Lower taxes. Deport Bush family and Clinton family. That's funny. Obama, Pompeo, Bolton to ICC. Wow. That's funny. Destroy Open Society Foundation. WEF, IMF, World Bank. I'm for that. Gates, Ford, Clinton foundations. Yes. Dismantle Big Pharma, destroy duopoly DC Uniparty and debt slavery, imprison opioid fentanyl networks, protect minors from sexualization, dismantle secret societies, CENTCOM, AFRICOM, declare NED, USAID, and NAFO terrorist organizations, arrest George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, Fauci, and all Epstein associates criminals. Interesting. Anyways, I'm just reading this, okay? I am giving my opinion on it, but here and there. I just said that for YouTube's sake. I don't know. I don't know what they think about all that. Anyways, most of that is, it's cool. But this is just another word for populism, things that most people like. It's whatever. It's a new thing for people to get into. But, it's fine. I don't care one way or the other. It's a branding exercise. But there's nothing on that list about climate change, nothing on that list about we understand that climate change is a thing that's going to greatly impact our lives. Nothing about that. Which I actually had to point out is, again, there's a grand, huge, gaping information hole in people's brains about that. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. Just reading this because it's interesting. 100% bamboo toilet paper, super soft and sustainable. But is it sustainable if everyone uses it? For how long? Processing. How is it transported? Where does it end up? Should I feel good? Whilst not wanting to discourage efforts in the right direction, I bet my bottom dollar this is not really sustainable. Well, anything wrapped in plastic too. We'll just add that. Buy this sustainable goods wrapped in plastic, which is probably not recyclable. So there's that. D-Truth says replace the reptiles. There you go. All this is about scale. Yeah, right. It's just, maybe it's slightly more sustainable than trees. Sure. But we have issues of scale. And you can replace one, idea with it. Oh, this is an even better idea. Oh, geez, if everybody does it, that's marginally better. That's why, I think hemp is cool. I think hemp is magical and wonderful and all that stuff. But, replacing everything with hemp products being used by 8 billion people on the planet, still going to be an issue of scale. Poppy Davis says, yeah, why not wrapped in bamboo? Exactly. Why don't you wrap these toilet papers in paper even? I'd even just go for just paper, recycled, just some recycled pulpy, just some pulp, some paper. You have to wrap it in plastic? Everything is wrapped in plastic. It just never ends. Judy Truitt, interesting idea. Okay. No need for toilet paper. Some people are saying bidets. Some people are saying towel. Wash the towel. Use the towel. Wash the towel. What was it I heard on the Useful Idiots podcast one time? Was they were talking about this idea. I don't know how many people do this. I don't even do it, but I'd be into trying. Where you have basically a bunch of towels, clean towels in the bathroom. You use those towels for whatever it is, and then you just have a canister for the dirties, and you throw it in the canister, and then you wash, whatever. Anyways. Maybe that's an idea people can do. Maybe I'll try that, I'm expanding my sustainable practices every day. Maybe I'll try that. Because it would sure be nice not to go buy toilet paper. Buying toilet paper is one of my least favorite things to buy. I don't know why. It's just really a pain. A pain in the butt. Anyways, stop it. Record heat wave in the Caucasus and Central Asia with widespread temperatures above 35 C. Holy moly. What's the date? September 20th. Above 1,000 meters locally in Russia and Armenia yesterday. Today, exceptional heat above 55 north latitude with 30 C recorded in Sandrisk and Isim. Latest on records, Kurgan and Makusino, 55 north. Okay. So yeah, they're getting some. Look at Greenland is still very, very warm. These things are happening. They're really happening. Oh my God. Poppy Davis says, then I start thinking about water scarcity. Can't win with 8 billion butts. Sure. Then there's that. 8 million butts. Something. Anyways. God, I am 8 years old. Colin McCarty. Truly a 1 in 1,000 storm or 1,000 year storm. This evening in Davis, California, the town has seen 4 inches of rain in less than 36 hours, which is completely unprecedented in the city's history for September. Rain rates reached as high as half a foot an hour this evening. That's wild. Davis, California getting hammered by a very intense storm. Just to put it into perspective, how insane this storm has been, 4 inches of rain is over 4,000% the normal Davis September rainfall. 4,000% of rainfall, so a lot of rain. Let's keep going. So this is the reason why, we're just not even in the vicinity of having, actual conversations about what's really happening, because people are just cranking out the dumbosity. But, this is Alchemical Daddy. I like Alchemical Daddy. He's formerly known as Sky Daddy. I follow her account, and it's pretty cool. If you're looking for some good, whatever, MAGA communism adjacent kind of commentary, I wouldn't even. She'll probably be pissed that I said something like that, but I don't know her. Anyways, but she's got some good independent-minded tweets and stuff. But this one, I mean, I don't know why the people on the independent / conspiratorial / you know what I'm saying, side of the spectrum, why they just, when they hit climate change, they just, I don't know what it is. They just can't seem to get it over the hump of understanding. Anyway, she says, so Biden recently said the pandemic was over and now we're having all these natural disasters everywhere. Did you notice? Puerto Rico, Mexico, Taiwan, just in time for the climate change pandemic to start up. They keep saying it's like, I was like, I just said, if you're paying attention, it's been happening all year. It's been happening for the last 5 years. Nice try. Like, it's just convenience that people, folks in this part of the spectrum just be pulling stuff out of their butt, just whatever. They're saying it's hot again. See, they're trying to, it is hot. Have you been paying, you're not paying attention. You're going from your air conditioned house to your air conditioned car to your air conditioned gym. And it's like, oh, I don't know. Is it hot? Is it raining out there? Is somebody getting flooded out? Or somebody, like, you can only acknowledge the extreme weather events in order to, to whisk them away, right? But you're not even, there's no thread of, there's no context, no understanding, no thread of like, geez, this has been happening like a whole lot for the last like 4 or 5 years. Geez, maybe something's going on. So it's just like, whatever. But this is, I have to say to the people, to the, truther community, whatever you want to call them. Sorry. But to those folks, if you were proven right during COVID, and you're on a roll, everybody's like, yeah, conspiracy theorists, man, they called this one. And they did. And I appreciate, and I love that community. I appreciate that community. I follow that community. I feel affiliated and aligned on a lot of levels. But when you get to climate change, I would give up this narrative, this climate change narrative, like super quick, because you all are going to look super dumb. I don't know how long it's going to take, 6 months or a year or maybe 2 years, but you all are going to fall straight up on your faces on this, and you're going to lose all your credibility that you thought you gained, for the COVID times. You're just going to lose all that credibility because you're just wrong. You're not paying attention. You don't have any understanding of it. You're not even investigating it. You're completely dismissing it. You don't use, you're not using data and evidence on this. You're completely you're just throwing your credibility in the garbage. So if you think you're winning, but you're just like walking around, they're going to do it with climate change. You're just, I don't know. Anyways, have fun with that one. But anyways, I keep seeing these comments, they get me a little bit riled up for sure. But it's just like, you guys. Denver Attaway says it's like they are passing the relay baton to the Republicans. They work in a coordinated fashion together. Sure. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, what I'm saying, but I'm assuming you are. But it's like, come on, y'all. Can you get it together? It is really just a failure of, imagination or concern or understanding, and so whatever though. This is thank you for clarifying, Denver. It's just this is humans. This is how humans work. People, right? Beautiful, lovely, intelligent, lovely, caring people are capable of depraved actions, and really horrific people are capable of some compassion and love once in a while. Like, everybody has the capacity for, good and bad. This is who we are. This is who we are as a species. Now, I had to cover this, and this is why I titled this, because I see so many people. This is another one, and this isn't necessarily relegated to the more libertarian side, but I see a lot of people like, why don't we do nuclear is fine. Nuclear is totally great. We should just get on the nuclear. If we could just do nuclear. First of all, there is a reason why they are taking down nuclear plants and they're not building new ones. There is a reason. And some people might say like, oh, it's a political something, something. It's just politics. No, actually, the thing is that these nuclear power plants have a certain amount of, life expectancy, and then they start leaking and breaking and not working properly, and that starts to end up being dangerous. And so they're decommissioning a lot of nuclear plants right now. A lot of plants are taken offline. Why? Because this is not great energy. This is not magic energy. But man, there seems to be a lot of people. Oh, it's not doing anything. Look at Chernobyl. The exclusion zone. It's fine. There's lots of animals and stuff there. Well, that's because humans aren't there. But the exclusion zone is actually doing great because there's not a lot of humans there. I can give you a clue as to why that is. But exactly, Judy Truitt points out something very basic. Nuclear plants have to have cold water next to them in order to cool them. And when they lose that water source, they have to shut down. Right? And then then it starts getting dangerous. There are a bunch of nuclear plants in France that shut down every summer because the water's too hot to cool them. And then it just starts getting weird. And then if you have, all these floods and all these mega extreme weather events, that you could have a nuclear plant flood out. You could have D-Truth says Fukushima. You have all these natural disasters going on and to add to the mix. Whoa, what's going to happen to the nuclear plant if something hits it? It's just, and it's not, every time there's a nuclear disaster, people get sick, people get cancer, people die, rates of cancer go through the roof. There are places called cancer alleys, right? Not necessarily just specifically around nuclear plants, but there are cancer alleys around nuclear plants. So it's just this idea that it's just like super safe, and it's just if we all just did nuclear, we could just power the world and it would be awesome, And then add to it to say nothing about war. Exactly, you guys are bringing up great points today. To add to the point that, right, something, the energy grid goes down. The economy collapses, super quick. Something, whatever. EMPs happen. Electric magnetic pulse. That would immediately actually hit a nuclear plant as well. There are so many reasons to be very afraid of nuclear energy. Then where do you store the waste? Somebody else is on Twitter like, oh, all that waste is totally recyclable. Why is it called waste? Is it all recyclable? It just, and to go back to my original point, there is a reason why nuclear power plants are being decommissioned and they are not building new ones. There's not a lot of countries out there going like full bore on nuclear. You have to maintain them. They get old. They get rickety. They start leaking. They're not safe. They are not safe. This is not. This is not a good option. And so it's just, I don't know. Whatever. We'll hear this lady who's, one of these people that's like, let's do nuclear. It's so, whatever. We'll see what she has to say. If we can get her to, if the sound can work. Well, and then Peter Dines brings up another good point. One other point that I was going to make. Come on, can I get the sound here? Here we go. let's say we just build out all the nuclear plants and we can just power civilization with nuclear energy. Well, are we gonna? So we're gonna power all of our consumption. We're gonna allow people to continue doing all the things they're doing, right? Because it's not just about power generation. It's not just about fossil fuels. It's not just about coal. It's not just about emissions. It's about everything that humans do on the planet and to the planet. So if you put nuclear online right away, then then you're just allowing humans to keep on keeping on. And by keeping on, I mean keep the foot on the gas into the brick wall. Realize, I'm going to take your call in a second, Phantomas. Realize says, people say nuclear energy is the safest energy. It's like saying nuclear weapons are the safest weapons because they have killed less people than guns, tanks, missiles. It's the potential damage, right? Right. Creative Experiment says, just excuses to keep your air conditioning below 70 degrees. Well, let's listen to this too. Before I take your call, Phantomas, I'm going to listen to this and say, this is what Peter Dine says. Apart from the fact that rivers supplying the cooling water are disappearing, which they are, there's only 70 years of fuel supply. Did y'all know that? This species cannot be trusted with nuclear power. Then there's that. We need less energy, less consumption, and greater distribution of that energy in the global south through CSP. I don't know what CSP is. Anybody know what CSP is? Anyways, here's a lady saying, let's do nuclear.
Best hope for the future. A future where wars aren't funded by our addiction to fossil fuels. A future where energy is clean. A future where electricity finally makes its way to the 700 million people on Earth who still don't have access to it. The idea that nuclear power is bad is costing us that future. And it's time to let go of it.
Oh, sorry.
What if this technology...
I didn't really, there's no... Anyways, whatever. This is going to make the rounds and people are going, well, yeah, nuclear, whoa. You don't know anything. So there's a finite amount of nuclear energy too. There's that. Unless we go out in space and mine nuclear power from space. Maybe we can do that. I don't know. Maybe we can build space rockets fueled by nuclear power. There's a reason why space rockets are not nuclear powered. Do you know why? I'll give you 3 guesses. Because that's stupid. Because we can't control it. Anyways, whatever. I like just... there's just a lot of dumb ideas out there. Anyways, Phantomas, what's up? Oh, hold on. I don't know why this happens. Let's see if you can say something again, Phantomas. There you.
Well, just for reference, Kev, I can wait a long time. I'm a child to talk radio. I remember waiting for like hours to get on someo's program. So
right.
You can keep that under your hat. I mean, I can wait for a long time.
All good. I tell people to wait. Sometimes they're just like, shrug shoulders.
Yeah,
they leave.
That's because of the internet microwave age. That's what's happened. Yeah.
Right.
The waiting time can't wait. I've seen that with 30-second commercials. I'm like, wow.
Right.
So I do want to bring up something that I see what's happening more and more, and this is a perfect example of the thing that I sent to you. I don't really. It's not that I'm going to prevent all these people from not getting together. I just see this as like I just coined this today. I see we're headed into what I would call occult vortexes, and basically what that means is that find a personality. Match that personality up, tether that person, beacon to that person, whatever he's spouting, and then just hold on to them for all you can, and that's your vortex, and then someone else's vortex, and then just separating people one by one, so we can't really have these critical thinking, nuanced discussions, and you see
Right.
this a lot, especially like let's start with the DeSantis. Like I don't like DeSantis. I don't like what he stands for. But you
Yeah.
know what? His main point is this: is that he's so cynical. He sent the migrants and he sent foreigners. Let's just use that word. He sent foreigners to a different place, and really, the Democrats don't want them.
Right.
I'll give you
He
perfect.
is
I'm going to give you a perfect example of that, and then then comment on this.
okay.
We had in my state, in the state of Maine, we had Africans sent to us, and guess what they did? They didn't give a shit about them. They didn't give them coats. They didn't even prepare them for winter, and they just had them wandering around the streets. So you trying to tell me that they care? That
Wow.
anyone cares? I
So
mean, this
wait,
still,
where do the
yeah,
Africans come from?
that's a good question. I mean, this is
They
what
just
this is
showed
what
up one day?
no, they just it's like a migrant lottery. They just send people to different states and they say, "Hey, you go here," and then they don't give them
Whoa.
any preparation or anything.
Wow.
That's happening in our
That's
world.
that is weird. Yeah, I
I
didn't.
mean, that's happening. I've picked up an African person on the side of the road, and we've had this talk.
Yeah.
And I've seen that they don't have winter coats, and I've asked them, "Do you like being here?" and all that. Not being a racist or prejudiced. I want to know if they like being there. And they've told me that they were scientists, engineers, all this shit.
Wow. Yeah.
But this is what's happening, folks. This is what's happening. So anyone who's siding with this, come to our. Okay, you want them to come to your land? Well, you better have the programs and plans for them. At least a winter jacket.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it is a really complicated issue, the immigration issue, and I don't actually agree with what Abbott and DeSantis are doing. I don't think
Yeah.
it's fair to the people, but their point is pretty much made by what happens when they get to wherever they're going, right?
Yeah, they don't want them. The
It's
Democrats
just a
don't
freak
want
out.
them.
Like, no, oh, they can't stay here. Like,
They don't want them in the golf courses. They don't want them in Manhattan. They
right.
want to put them to the lower side. And one other thing I'll mention is the fact that this is not just with the immigration issue. It's with everything. They don't really. There really isn't that. There's the stance of caring and passion and sincerity. That's pretty much out the door, and you can see that with Biden. You can see that with all the Democrats, and that's the road we're headed. And that's why I bring it back to my theme of cult vortexes. That's why people like DeSantis are important, because they show that. They show that shining light. You don't really care. I don't care about DeSantis, but I damn for sure know that these Democrats don't care about any of these foreigners. And one last thing before I go. On that MAGA communism thing, they keep on using those phrases, we need to close the open borders, or whatever statement they want to use.
Right.
The problem is nobody has an explanation what that means, what that entails, what type of society we have. And when you start talking about it, Kev, that's when people get really, really nervous.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the authoritarian side comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's I don't know. It's a weird issue. It's a weird issue to talk about.
I'm going to leave it there.
Okay. Well, Denver says we support immigrants as long as they stay over there, aka not here,
Yeah.
which is correct.
Back to my old vortex. See you later.
Right. Later. Thanks for the call. Well, and it is actually a political. It's just a political football that's dragged out every election season. For whatever party to go, well, we want to welcome everybody and we want everybody to stay away, it's used to corral everybody into a position. But I will say that I think both parties are disingenuous when it comes to, because, well, the uniparty, the neoliberal, quasi-fascist uniparty of the Democrats and Republicans, they are not truthful about the immigration issue. They just use it to corral people, right? So they actually, they actually do want people to come, to actually undermine workers' rights. Like they see that as advantageous, right? So if you have illegal immigrants coming into the country, and they're getting jobs and they're getting paid, under the table, and they're not making, they're undercutting unions, and they're not, they like that. That actually serves their whole like globalist, thing, right? So, because they don't like unions, and because they don't care about unions, they don't care about people getting paid living wage. Which is obvious, right? Because of the cost of living has greatly outstripped what people are getting paid, and that's what they don't mind that at all. They're like perfectly fine with that, right? And so, if having people come into the country and work for less, driving down, the demand for, or driving down the ability for people to get paid a decent wage, they're fine with that, and that's the truth. Underneath it all, that's the truth. Anyways, let's see. And on top of that, remember when I think it was 2016, during the Obama, pre-Trump, late Obama, they were talking about people getting the Democrats kind of like allowing immigrants to come across the border and kind of getting like being able to get votes in return, for letting people across. I think there's a lot of that going on as well. So, all right. But what you have is second and third and fourth generation immigrants, they switch to the Republican side, right? There's lots of Latino Republicans in Texas and California, right? After you're here, right? You get over here and you're like, oh, these Democrats are so great. They treat me so nice. A generation or two later, those people who came over here and loved the access, the easy access, they're like, well, wait a minute. Now I have a defendable position here. And now I don't know about all the immigration. Maybe, anyways, that totally happens. Okay. And it's just such a complicated, subject. And I don't necessarily think, the closed border idea is a bad one. It's kind of like, are you taking care of the people that are already here? And that's why I think the whole conversation is disingenuous, because nobody wants to take care of the people that are here, and it's fine if letting people in kind of undermines the position of people that are already here. It's totally fine. So no, they don't really care. I would say a lot of the closed border people, actually, the Republicans actually don't give, they don't give a hoot about it. They're totally fine with it. All right. Oh wow, I went way over time talking about that. But we're almost done anyways. I didn't have a lot of stories to cover. I was trying to keep it a little more concise today. Okay. YouTubers, love you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to jump off and talk about, what am I going to talk about? Yeah, a couple more things, but I'm going to do it all on Rockfin. So YouTubers, thanks for chilling. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Pacific, and everybody else will finish the show on Rockfin and Colin. Peace out.